Size matters. Hello, welcome to Mads Creates. I'm Madeline, and in this video I am going to be finishing a retro granny square flower blanket that I have been making. The pattern I'm following is by Elise Myers. She found a bunch of other patterns and altered them to make her own, and that's the original way that I learned, and that's the only way that I'm going to follow it. These are all of the squares that I have done so far. I have to make 2 more of each of these except for the yellow one because that's just too bold. I'm not going to have too much yellow in this blanket, but I'm trying to do like retro colors. I've got a sage color, a pale pink, I think that's pale peach, and then mushroom. This is all Big Twist, by the way, all Big Twist yarn. Joanne, sponsor me. And then I have a variation of the sage in the center, the mushroom, the peach, the sage, the peach, the mushroom. Another variation I have are these dark teal, gold, and I think that's taupe. Then I have the variation. This is supposed to be the variation for the yellow of them, but I did not like how it was gonna look, so I did white petals instead of whatever other color I was gonna use. And we have, actually this is antique white, this is Lion brand. The only thing that's not Big Twist is this white color. And then the last one is blue on the outside. Might add some more color variations, but these are the ones that I have so far. I think the hardest part of any granny square is probably starting the squares. So I batch make all of my centers to my flowers because it takes way too much effort to start a new center every time I want to make a new square. So I just batch make the centers to my squares. I found that it takes me about anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to make one of these flower squares. I haven't fully timed myself just sitting down with no distractions, but it takes roughly 30 to 45 minutes to make one of these. I finished all of the batch centers for my flower granny squares, and I'm going to be timing myself now to see how long it actually takes to make one. I'm also watching a show while I'm doing this, so I might be slightly distracted, but I'm gonna try and make it as accurate as possible. Well, I was wrong. It does not take 30 or 45 minutes. It takes almost an hour. It takes 50 minutes, 50, to crochet one of these. And now I'm just hiding my tail. I can't remember how many my blanket's gonna have in total. Let's check my little notebook. Here we go. I have all of the colors written down for what I want. All the colors written down, but I did not write down the dimensions. Wow. I don't have the dimensions written down. So I'm gonna do some math real quick. I'll be right back. I'm pretty sure I was going to be making 64 squares, so that would be 8 by 8. These measure around, can't remember how big these are. It's at least, oh, hold on. Oh no, I used the wrong size hook. I think I used a 5mm hook instead of a 5.5. Oh no, I used the wrong size hook. I used the wrong size hook. I have to redo everything. I just spent an hour on this just to measure it up to the next one, or a previous one. I used a 5mm hook and not a 5.5. This is not supposed to be this big. I have to take all of these apart and redo them in a 5mm hook. Yep, 5mm hook was the correct size. This is the incorrect, this is the correct. This one kind of looks raggedy because it has already been crocheted in and I undid it. This one looks a lot better. Size matters. I finished remaking this granny square and my stitches seem still a little bit looser than what I made previously, but it has been a couple weeks since I have worked on this blanket, so I'm thinking I just need to tighten my tension a little bit and just stretch the other ones out and hope that it matches up in the end. It is currently 9:40 a.m. and I'm going to start working on some more granny squares and see how many I can make today. I'm planning on trying to get 12 done today. They each take 50 minutes minimum, like almost no distractions. So we're gonna see if I can get 12 done in 12 hours. I'm also going to be watching one of my favorite shows that I used to watch with my grandma when I was growing up in like middle school. Psych. I don't know if anybody else watches this, but I got an obsession with pineapples from this show. I was doing some thinking and I've been working on just this one granny square for an hour now, and I think it's gonna take a lot longer for me to make a bunch of these. So I think I'm going to change the amount that I'm going to make from 12 to, I think I can do at least 6, but I'm gonna try and go for 8. I think I can do that. It has been 8 hours since I started. It's been 8 hours since I started this. I only got 3 of them finished, and I'm most of the way done with this one. Been feeling pretty lazy today. I haven't wanted to work on these flowers, so after I make this one, I think I'm going to call it there, and we're just gonna make 4, and I'm going to design some tapestry crochet patterns. It is currently 11:30. I am really tired. I have been editing for the past hour and a half, but I did end up getting 6 squares done, and I do have to weave in the ends for that, just the end row, because I weave in all the other ends while I'm working because it makes it so much easier in the end. Earlier when I said it took 30 to 45 minutes to make this, technically I was not wrong, because today I was able to make this in 40 minutes, excluding the center of the flower, because I pre-made that. All I did was weave in the ends to the center, and then I started the petals and the outside color. Without distractions, I was able to make one of these in 40 minutes, but with distractions, it takes about an hour. Alright, I have decided that the finished dimensions of my blanket are going to be it's going to be 59.5 by 59.5, so that'll be 7 squares by 7 squares. It might end up being 60 by 60 because, you know, it'll stretch a little bit. I have 34 squares, well, not anymore, I've made a couple more, but I did have 34 squares, which means I'd have to make 15 more, and that means I also have to come up with a couple new like color design patterns to mix up the yarn a little bit, because I don't think I have enough to make one more of each variation that I have, but I can do one more of a couple of them to have 5 of one color and 4 of some other, and then, you know, 2, 3 here and there. It is very, very late, like 12 a.m. right now. I finished all of the squares that I needed to make, and I was gonna wait until the morning when the lighting was better to show you guys, but I got too excited and I started joining all of my squares together, so I'll show you all the joined squares in the morning and I'll show you my progress. Today is April 20th. I started this video on April 7th. I had already gotten like half of the squares, more than half of the squares done by April 7th. I just needed to finish one last square, which I did last night, and now it's time to sew all of the horizontal lines because I've done all the verticals already. It has been about 2.5 hours of work, and I only have 2 seams left to slip stitch together. It's looking so good already. I finally finished the blanket and it turned out pretty good. I slip stitched everything together and I did a single crochet border around all of the edges. This is my favorite color square out of all of them, and I only made 2 of them. And that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more crochet content.